Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. It's really great that everybody's taking the time to be with us today. So really pleased that we've got such a good turnout, and I can still see people coming through now. So just a few quick bits of housekeeping before we get started. The session will run for around about 45 minutes in total. We've left some time at the end for questions and any discussions that might take place as well. So as we go through the webinar, please feel free to drop any questions into the chat at any point during the session, and then towards the end we'll collect those up and we will address them. Depending on how many questions we get, we'll try and get through as many as possible. If we can't answer them all, then we'll absolutely take note of who's asked the questions and we'll share them afterwards as well. So the session will be recorded, and the system will automatically share the recording with you after today's session as well. So don't worry if you about taking notes or grabbing any screen grabs or anything like that. You'll get full access to the content, and we'll actually also share the slides with everybody afterwards as well. So what does the agenda look like for this afternoon? So we'll have a quick introduction, and then I'm going to talk very briefly about what we're seeing in the threat landscape today and the reality of what we're experiencing around SSL VPNs. They'll then take a look at some of recent examples of some of the vulnerabilities that the market is experiencing. And then I'm going to hand over to the main event, which will be the team from Private Communications Corp, to give a great overview of their products, services and solutions. And then we'll come to a close and a Q&A. And sorry, just during the overview from PCC, there'll also be a demonstration of the portal as well. So you'll just get a feel for it and get to see how easy it is to use and how easy it is to implement and move forward. So before we begin, let me just very quickly introduce you to our expert panel of speakers today. So for those who don't know me, my name is Dom Riles, and as I've said, I'll be providing an introduction to today's webinar, looking at some of the key issues organizations are facing when operating with legacy VPN technology. I'm the director for our cloud and cybersecurity division here at Hammer, and I focus on helping organizations navigate what is becoming even more of a complex landscape as we move forward, especially where technologies intersect with modern threats. First up from Private Communications Corp, we've got Kent Lawson, who's the president and CEO of PCC and the creator of their flagship product, Remote Workforce, VPN, ZTNA, and private Wi-Fi. And then we've got Dave Knows, who is the VP of Product Management and an experienced MSP and administrator with over 25 years of expertise aligning technology and business goals. So thank you, Kent and Dave. It's great to have you both with me for today's session. So before I hand over to Kent and Dave, I really want to focus on what we're seeing in the market today in regards to the reality and some of the SSL VPN vulnerabilities. And it's important to understand the broader threat landscape that we're now operating in. So if we look at what the industry and the market is showing us today, there's been a lot of incident response teams over the past 6+ months that have seen hundreds of major security incidents involving intrusions, extortion, and data theft across most industries. And many of those are tied to remote access, or what we're seeing weaknesses in the traditional perimeter. And given the rise in the incidents, it's no surprise that the VPN remains a key attack vector, with recent industry research showing a significant portion of organizations reporting breaches that are tied to VPN vulnerabilities, and many organizations experiencing multiple VPN related attacks, not just single instances. If we look at some of the statistics that are also coming out from the industry experts as well, it's estimated that close to 90% of organizations now see VPN vulnerabilities as a primary concern for ransomware attacks and also unauthorized access, which poses the concern around backdoor exposures from third-party VPN links as well. And with the vast majority of organizations, they're either planning to or already adopting zero trust strategies. And it's something that I've talked about over the past couple of years quite a lot and quite openly, in part because traditional VPNs are increasingly viewed as insufficient, particularly in today's threat landscape as well. So really, in short, attackers aren't just probing perimeter devices anymore. They're actively exploiting unpatched remote access systems and misconfigurations, ultimately to gain entry. And that really elevates the risk for organizations of all sizes as well. And I want to be very clear about what we're seeing in the world right now. So I've kind of broken it out into three individual areas. So first up, SSL VPNs have become a primary attack vector. Most of these systems are internet facing by design, and once compromised, they give attackers exactly what they want, which is authenticated access straight into the environment. And that's why we're seeing them being scanned so much, we're seeing them being probed, and we're also seeing them being exploited at scale. And a lot of these attacks are not just opportunistically, but they're being very deliberate in their approach. Second is that it's not a small business problem, which many would probably get themselves to a place where they feel like it is. What we've seen over certainly the past 6 months is some of the largest and most established vendors in our market and enterprises in the world have experienced serious SSL VPN vulnerabilities and breaches. That includes vendors such as SonicWall, Fortinet, Avanti, Pulse Secure, and in many cases, these aren't obscure bugs. They were critical flaws that allowed things like potential bypasses, session hijacking, or unauthorized access, even in environments where multi-factor authentication was being used. And then thirdly is the speed of exploitation that has fundamentally changed. So today, the gap between vulnerability disclosure and active exploitation can be measured in hours and not weeks. So attackers are automating their scanning policies, they're weaponizing the exploits rapidly, and they use VPN access as an entry point for ransomware, data exfiltration out of the organization, and then full network compromises as well. And I will be clear that the issue isn't that the organizations that are using SSL VPN are careless. It's that the fundamental SSL VPN model has become a high-risk architecture in what we see as a very modern threat landscape today. And that's exactly what brings us to today's session and the tone in which organizations should look to begin to review their architecture around this particular part. So what I will do, hopefully that set the scene a little bit and give you a bit of a background, but what I am now going to do, I'm going to hand over to Kent and David, who will dive into who PCC are, what remote workforce is, and just how easy it is to implement into your business. So Kent and David, over to you.
Thank you, Dom, and thank you all for joining us. So let's see. There we are. Okay. All right. So thank you, Dom, and thank you all for joining us. So as Dom has indicated, the days of SSL VPN are over, and we would like to propose Remote Workforce VPN as a modern cloud-based alternative for today's SMEs. Now, as I think you will see, it is a direct one-to-one replacement for SSL VPN that you can implement for your customers with the least disruption of current operations. Everyone is going to understand it immediately, and it installs quite readily and with no disruption. Importantly, it also establishes what we call the glide path to full ZTNA cybersecurity, which your customers will probably need sometime soon. So it's a little bit of okay. There's a all right. So why SSL VPNs need to be replaced? Dom has given you his view. Let me give you our view. This is slow, Dom. All right, so it is built on 20-year-old architecture. SSL VPNs are built in 20-year-old architecture. SSL VPNs are a top target for ransomware. As you've probably experienced, the patch exploit cycle never seems to end. And fundamentally, SSL VPNs are simply too complex. The certificates, all the porting, the port management, the firewall rules, it's a very complex environment. I think you will see there's a simpler way of doing things. Perhaps most importantly, SSL VPNs are not suited for hybrid working, BYOD, cloud access, or SaaS. They're just not secure, not suited for today's work environment. And SMEs, so SMEs need something simpler, safer, and cloud-based. And all right, so SonicWall is proposing Sonic. I'm sorry, Dom, are you doing that, or how's that happening, or is that happening automatically? Sorry about that. Okay, so there's SonicWall to replace it. SonicWall is offering CSE, and we think CSE is simply a bridge too far. It's overly complex. It is designed for CSE was designed for enterprise, not for SMEs, and so it's overkill for SMEs. It requires new agents, new policies, and a whole new learning curve. It is a multi-step environment, not a simple one-for-one replacement. So the MSPs, the MSPs must manage multiple moving parts, which slows down the implementation and extends deployment cycles, which is not what your customers are looking for. They want a quick solution and they want simplicity. I'm trying to get to the next slide down. Okay, all right. So SonicWall is offering you this solution for free. Well, guess what? Free is not really free. CSE requires free CSE requires a 3-year support contract for every firewall. There are very few user licenses are included, and additional users are billed immediately for the whole first year. Renewals revert to automatically revert to full user pricing for years 2 and 3, which creates a long-term hardware lock-in, which is exactly what SonicWall is trying to do. So the net effect is higher cost, more complexity, and less flexibility. Fortunately, we think is a better solution. So remote workforce is as I've indicated, the simple modern SSL VPN replacement. It is fully cloud-based. It's a fully cloud-based VPN. So there's no hardware to manage, and it's a far simpler environment. It is a direct one-to-one replacement, like for legacy of SSL VPN. Your customers will see it as virtually no change in their operations. It's simple and straightforward. There are no appliances. There are no complex rules. And importantly, there are no open ports. Now, that's critical because it is the ports which were exploited to provide the vulnerability of SSL VPN. Ports are also have to be open for RDP and for many other types of access, which means that and those open ports can be exploited. With remote workforce, there are no open ports because all of our communications from the network are outward, and therefore all inbound ports can be closed. And Dave will show you that. It's remarkably simple. It's easy to learn, it's easy to administer, and it's easy for end users to use. And to get started, it is simple as well. You simply register users, you define your networks, and you install the Gateway app. That's it. So you're up and running quite literally in minutes. And you're going to see that in the demo. Now, remote workforce is feature rich. It has management reporting built in with time on and off the network, which becomes a proxy for work hours, thereby suitable for particularly good for hybrid working. Whereas also you can also look at detail at what individuals are doing when they're doing company work. There's network analytics built in as well as visibility. Remote workforce has direct and secure access to SaaS apps. Malware blocking is available by default, and you can also turn on custom domain blocking. So the bottom line is that it's designed, this is important, it's designed for SME requirements without all the complexity for enterprise products. We have 3 levels of service to meet customers' needs. Our basic VPN protects communications. It provides secure internet communications, which protects people, which protects the company's data and data security and privacy when their employees are working from home, in Starbucks, traveling, in airport lounges, and so on, providing encrypted, secure internet communications. The enhanced VPN protects the networks themselves, so it provides direct access to all networks, whether those are on premises or in the cloud, as well as SaaS apps. And the third level is the full ZTNA, which protects individual resources. It means that only verified users and devices, not just users, not just their email and password, but their devices themselves can access authorized resources. It provides thereby full granular access for networks, resources, and cloud or SaaS apps. I liken ZTNA to we know what a firewall is around a network. ZTNA is like having a firewall around each individual asset. Now, all of these versions are completely integrated. You can upgrade at any time with zero disruption. We're actually going to show you that in our demo. We call that we call that, by the way, the glide path to ZTNA. It is our unique advantage. Here's what you do to start. You start with the enhanced VPN. Just register users and define their networks. Step 2 is discovery mode, which automatically detects IT resources, and it builds the inventory of the IT resources automatically without any manual effort. So just the users continue doing what they're doing, and we create that inventory of resources. Once the resources have been identified, then it's an easy matter to apply permissions to those benefits, to those resources. So, for example, the marketing group only has access to marketing apps. The finance group only has access to finance apps, and so on. So it's done by group. It's easy, and as you see in the demo. Then when you're ready, you can simply flip the switch, and transition to full ZTNA security instantly. There's no downtime, there's no reinstallation, and there's no retraining. It is by far the fastest, most straightforward path to ZTNA available anywhere. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Dave and my friend Dave in just a minute. We will go through a demonstration where we'll show you how we define companies, how we add users, register networks. We'll show you discovery mode. We'll apply permissions, and then we'll actually demonstrate to flip the switch to ZTNA. And that'll take all of about 10 minutes if he talks a little fast. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Dave.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. And thank you, Dom, for setting this all up and your great introduction. And thank you, everyone, for giving us your time and joining us to learn more about remote workforce. Let me share my screen here. Okay, I am going to show you how an MSP can quickly onboard a company and have users securely accessing company networks with remote workforce enhanced VPN. There are 3 simple steps. 1, we're going to create a company. 2, register users. 3, define networks. Each step is straightforward. Let's walk through it. First, here is the MSP's multi-tenant portal. I'm logged in as the admin for Demo MSP, and this is where an MSP manages all their companies, their customer tenants, can run their revenue reports, set pricing and margin, and configure global settings like SSO and MFA. For now, we're going to stay focused on onboarding. So step 1, we need to add a company. Enter some basic information, company details, an admin contact. Under operations, here is where we would choose Enhanced VPN. Our account management, co-managed, is shared management between the MSP and company, compared to fully MSP managed or company self-managed. And company-owned devices controls whether users can deactivate the remote workforce client or not. We'd click Save to create the company. In our list of companies managed by Demo MSP, let's manage Demo Company. Notice the navigation on the left has changed. We're still in the MSP portal, but now we're managing this specific company. And from here, the MSP can manage the company's users, the networks, the resources, and other company settings. So step 2, let's add a user. Basic info, username, assign them to a group. And when a user is created, they receive 2 emails, a welcome email, and then an email to register their first device. Remote workforce takes security and privacy very seriously. Both the user and the device itself is authenticated. The user will install the appropriate client, Windows, Mac OS, iOS, or Android, and that's it for onboarding a user. Step 3, we need to define a network and deploy a gateway. Under networks here, you can see some existing networks for Demo Company, one on AWS, Azure, and several company LANs. Let's add a network. Simply type in a network name, what the network type is, and whether it's Windows or Linux. Let's click Save, and this generates a unique gateway package for this network. And really, the only technical step in the whole deployment is running this file on your server. Once it's installed and running, the gateway connects this network to the remote workforce service. A quick note on security. Our gateways make outbound, mutually authenticated connections, bringing users into the network over an encrypted tunnel. This allows you to close those vulnerable and exploited SSL VPN ports, as well as RDP, SSH, and any other open ports, which are all security breaches waiting to happen. And that's really the Achilles heel of SSL VPN, isn't it? SSL VPN exposes infrastructure to the internet and trusts the tunnel. Remote workforce never exposes infrastructure and never trusts the location or the tunnel itself. Because remote workforce gateways only make outbound, mutually authenticated connections to the remote workforce service, there are no inbound open ports, no SSL listener, there's nothing on the edge for hackers to scan or brute force or exploit. You can eliminate the SSL VPN vulnerabilities everyone knows all too well by migrating your clients to remote workforce. This simple change quietly closes a major attack vector and significantly strengthens your overall security posture. Okay, now we have a network with an active gateway. The preferred deployment is to have a gateway on each network connecting users directly to resources. So there's no more VPNing into the office, then through another VPN to a satellite office. No more tunneling into the office to go back out to cloud resources or SaaS apps. But at the same time, remote workforce meets networks where they are today. For example, you have clients with offices connected by VPNs or MPLS, that's fine. Deploying a gateway at one office can broker access to those connected networks, allowing for an easy parallel migration path without requiring any network redesign. This lets you move away from SSL VPN, closing ports and hiding infrastructure while you reduce the attack surface and improve your client's security stance. Let me show you the remote workforce client. It's a small, lightweight app. You can see I've had it active this entire time. Remote workforce is on. So let's see, now I've shown you the MSP portal. Let's look at the user portal. Here I'm logged in as a user for Demo Company. And this is what a user sees. Here are resources. Here's a resource on the headquarters LAN. Here's a resource on AWS and Azure. Users connect to what they need without ever seeing a VPN tunnel or firewall rule. At this point, remote workforce enhanced VPN is running in parallel with the old SSL VPN. The next step is to simply shut down SSL VPN and users stay connected through the remote workforce service. And really, that's it. We'd love to follow up with deeper technical demos. Please reach out to Hammer now or after this webinar to get those scheduled. Now you've seen how easy it is to get started with Enhanced VPN, but I just want to take 2 more minutes to show you how easy it is to flip the switch to ZTNA. Right now, Demo Company is in Enhanced VPN in Discover mode, and resources have been automatically cataloged. Let's change the product to ZTNA and flip the switch to operating mode, and we'll click Save. And that's all it takes to flip a company to ZTNA mode. Now, if we go back to resources, here are all the ones that have been discovered. Now you'll see each resource has a permissions field. Let me show you website 2. Here are where permissions are assigned to all or one or more groups. Assign them to all. I could put this one in finance and HR, save, and there you go. In ZTNA mode, there's no broad network access. Users only see what they have explicit permissions to see. And now with a frictionless setup, it really is that easy to onboard companies to Remote Workforce's enhanced VPN and then sever ties with the broken and insecure vulnerable SSL VPNs. Then with the simple flip of a switch, deliver true ZTNA least privileged granular app level access. So to sum up, Remote Workforce is built for the SME market and the MSPs that serve it. With a multi-tenant portal, attractive pricing and margins for MSPs and resellers, no long-term contracts, cloud VPN and ZTNA that are easy to deploy, easy to manage, and easy to use. And that's how quickly you can onboard a company with enhanced VPN, easily run in parallel on existing infrastructure, and eliminate those insecure SSL VPNs. Back to you, Kent.
All right. Thank you, Dave. So here's how you can get started. First of all, we will offer all of you we offer NFR licenses for internal testing. Try it yourself, train your team. Now, when I say that, by the way, our user guide is all of 6 pages long. So the training of your team is not a terribly extensive process. Deploy it in minutes, as you've seen in the demo, and you can use it internally for free. Then identify your first customer. A quick win might be a customer that needs to replace the SSL VPN because they need to get away from that vulnerability. Or perhaps there's a growth opportunity where the business is adding remote workers, perhaps consultants, for example. Or there's a need for a security upgrade. They may be getting pressure from their cybersecurity insurance, or even their customers or partners of needing to move to ZTNA. But it's easy to get started. Start with a VPN, perhaps basic VPN, or more likely the enhanced VPN, which includes the network access. And then when they are ready, you can simply flip the switch to go. We can flip the switch. Done. There we go. Thank you. You simply flip the switch to ZTNA. There's no disruption to users. They immediately get stronger security. There's higher MRR for you. And so it's easy to position and easy to sell. You can start simply, and you can build your MRR security practice that scales with your customers' needs. Now we have a special offer. It's available exclusively to Hammer webinar attendees, to all of you in the audience today, and thank you again for joining us. Begin your NFR license by install and testing by March 1st. Our ordinary terms are a 30-day trial that all companies get. We will offer you a 90 days free usage for your clients. Just get them started by June 1st. With that, I will thank you again for joining us. I will invite you to discuss your pricing and discuss pricing and NFR deployment with your Hammer account manager. Feel free to take a look at our website, Remote Workforce VPN. There's also remoteworkforceztna.com. Feel free to reach out to either Dave or myself or our email addresses. And with that, it's back to you, Dom.
Thank you very much. That was great. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Dave. Really, really informative session. Great demonstration as well of just how simple it was, which was awesome. So that does bring us to the end of the webinar. I've just looked into the Q&A. There are 2 questions that have come in so far. I think we're getting a third. I think a third one's coming through as I'm talking. Yeah. So first question, I'll take, because it's a commercial conversation. So the question is, do you have a vague idea of pricing, range, price per user, per year, per month? So what we will do with all attendees of today's webinar is we will share that out following today's session, along with the recording, along with the slides that we've been through as well, and also how you can take advantage of the 90-day special offer that's FOC for those attendees today. So I'll make sure that we send the pricing out. That will all come out in some form of pricing matrix. It's really simple, as Kent spoke to. There's 3 layers, and the costs are as simple as they can be. So we'll definitely share that afterwards. Dave, this might be for you. So is there any option to integrate into existing authentication platforms, AD, etc.?
Yeah, certainly. Currently, we do some SSO authentication and MFA. Probably Q2 of this year, we will be looking to have integrations with Intra, AD, and allow what that brings to the table. That's important. We know people are looking for that, and that is on our near-term roadmap.
Thank you, Dave. And it might be worth actually post this webinar, if you've got roadmaps that you can share again with the attendees, that might help with getting them to understand some of the future roadmap ideas that are coming from PCC. That'd be great. And then Kent, I'm going to chuck this one across to you. Any special pricing for primary schools? And I guess so that's come from Alec at Inspired ICT, and I guess just to add to that, definitely in the UK, the education space has budget constraints, and I think this, Alex probably along the same thought process as myself. This would be great for the education sector, but obviously, as a price-sensitive market, it's really important that they get the best deal. So, is there any special pricing for primary schools that are available?
I'd say answer that a little bit more generally and say that when there are special situations, we'll be glad to cooperate with Hammer and with Hammer's partners to meet appropriate needs. By the way, one more thing about pricing. I might just point out that our pricing is monthly, so you don't have to pay for the entire year in advance as you do with SonicWall. I think that's a big advantage as well. But we'll be happy to cooperate with Hammer and your partners for whatever they need.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Kent. So I can't see any more questions that have come through. If there are any more questions once we've finished, then please reach out to us. Our team, so our partner managers, will begin some follow-ups post today's session, strictly just to touch base with everybody, gather some feedback on their thoughts around it, and also to see if anybody wants to take advantage of the 90-day special offer that's off the back of today's webinar. So we will be bear with me, sorry. I have got another question that's coming, and we will address it. We've got a bit of time, actually. So Dave, this might be for you. So in terms of the installation package installed on a server in the network you want to access, is there any throughput limits, bandwidth, client limits that can connect at the same time? And is it possible to run more than one agent on the same network for resiliency?
Yeah, so great question. What we found with the SMB SME market that we work in is that the gateway has been robust enough to handle the clients, We do have some basic server level requirements, some minimum requirements. But I mean, if you, well, I shouldn't say anything you have in production, a relatively modern server, Windows, Linux, is going to be able to handle, we believe, the throughput. And we have multiple gateways running for failover, right? Because this is mission critical, and if your primary gateway goes down, we allow for a secondary backup to be running on the network for failover. And so I think that's how I would answer their question.
Yeah, cool. And sorry, there is one more that's just come in, and this is definitely directed at Kent. So this is from Mike Crawford. So NFR licenses, which flavor do MSPs get? Is it basic, enhanced, or full fat, and how many?
Well, we want you to go full bore. So I would suggest you start off with enhanced VPN and upgrade yourself to ZTNA to go through the whole experience. And no, we do not we do not limit the number of users or the amount of usage. Look, we are a simple product to use. We want to be simple to buy as well.
So you want them to drink the private communications Kool-Aid, Kent. That's what it is. You want
absolutely. It comes in multiple flavors. Okay.
Good. Very good. Very good. Okay, cool. Right. So we are just coming up to time now. So again, thank you everybody for joining today's session. It's been great to have you on, and I really hope that you've taken a lot away from just the simplicity of remote workforce VPN, the flick of the switch on the ZTNA bit as well, and just the simplicity in its execution. We'll make sure the recording's sent out, presentation slides are sent out as well. The questions that people have asked, we'll also put that into the email and some responses around that as well. And we'll ensure that pricing is transparent so that you can get a feel and a look for what that is. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised in terms of just how cost effective it is from how feature rich the solution is as well. So again, thank you very much for attendees. Thank you very much to Kent and David as well for joining this afternoon and for a fantastic presentation. And I'm sure there'll be more to come. So thank you. Have a great afternoon, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon as we do the follow-ups. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Dom. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.